Georg Scholti and the London Philharmonic Orchestra with the overture to Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Le Nozze di Figaro. Saturday night, Manitoba Opera opens its 2015-16 season with the Globe's favorite operatic rom-com, The Marriage of Figaro, one of the many magical collaborative efforts of Wolfgang Amadeus and Lorenzo da Ponte. The story pins itself around a young couple in love, both under the employ of the same household, who are forced to outwit their patrons through a fast-paced, comical, and emotional obstacle course. Shenanigans ensue, and love prevails. Winnipeg-born Andriana Chuchman, soprano extraordinaire, returns to her hometown for her second Mozart role with Manitoba Opera, first appearing as Pamina in Die Zauberflöte, The Magic Flute, in 2011. She's performed opera and oratorio all over North America, including several roles with New York's Metropolitan Opera. Just coming off of LA Opera's most recent production of Puccini's Gianni Schicchi with Plácido Domingo, in a production that was originally conceived by Woody Allen, she comes to Manitoba to pour her brilliance into one of Mozart's operas with the cast of all stars from the Canadian prairies. Andriana.
Hi there.
Welcome back to Classic 107.
Thanks. It's so good to be here. And
oh my gosh.
to talk to you.
I know. I just have like little soprano love moment.
Yes.
I have to admit, I have like a little mini soprano crush on you. Just a little
Really?
bit. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have so much respect for you. So
shucks.
that means big. That's a big thing for me. So
we're having little love fest in the studio.
We are.
Okay, but first, we have to talk about LA Opera. This Woody Allen production with Plácido Domingo. Like, word, girl. Like, tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, it was such a thrill. The first time I met Plácido Domingo was in New York at the Met, doing Enchanted Island. And we really just clicked. He's such a lovely person and such an amazing advocate for young artists. And we really clicked. And he was sort of brainstorming what he could bring me to LA for. And Lauretta was just the perfect sort of thing coming up. And so that sort of spiraled into me being Lauretta at the Los Angeles Opera. And
tell us a little bit about the uniqueness of the production, because it was originally a Woody Allen thing in 2008, right?
Yep.
And tell us about what kind of spin Woody put on it.
Well, he made it into this sort of black and white film motif from the 1940s, and it was very Woody Allen. Gianni Schicchi wasn't just some random guy in town. He was a mafioso, and Lauretta was his daughter, of course, and is a product of a mafioso dad. And so she had this tough side to her. Nice. And she was packing heat with a dagger strapped to her thigh, and threatening Zita with it during some of the scenes. And so it was really fun to like not play this sweet sort of naive Lauretta. She was really there she had her reasons to sort of work the system as well. And it was such a fun way to play her, and to sing O mio babbino caro, we just added another layer to manipulating, Papa.
That is amazing. I just have all these images in my head of which direction it could go.
Yeah.
But hey, welcome back home though, after all of your exploits elsewhere. How is it to be working back at home?
Well, I would say ultimately it's awesome. I'm here with family and my husband, and I don't have to Skype with him at the end of the day about how work went. We can actually talk face to face. So ultimately, I love it. And it's so nice to have, the best of both worlds, which I don't normally get. But I would definitely have to say, honestly, that it's been a bit of a juggle because I have to deal with domestic stuff and paperwork and stuff that I'm not used to when I'm on the road. I can sort of, swipe that aside and really just focus on the task at hand or the contract that I'm currently on. And so here it's a little bit of a juggle, but it keeps me on my toes, and I haven't quite mastered it yet. but I hopefully I'm managing.
I'd be hard pressed to really name a musician or artist out there that has really mastered that. Yeah. I think you're doing okay.
How do normal people do it? How do they work and live at the same time?
I don't know. It's hard for us. Anyway, so last time you were with Manitoba Opera, you did Die Zauberflöte, The Magic Flute, in 2011. And you came back in 2012 to do Messiah with the WSO. And you did this fantastic event with your teacher. Do you still study with Tracy?
Yeah, I see Tracy as much as I can.
That's amazing.
And she's probably one of my dearest friends too, and definitely has always been a mentor to me since I was 17, I guess. So, and I'm not 17 anymore. I'm a little bit older than that. But yeah, so she's been so such a neat thing to do a concert with her.
At the Osaredok.
Yeah, it was with Osaredok, and we put it on at the Met downtown, and downtown here in Winnipeg.
Yes.
And we called it Met to the Met because I had just a few months earlier that year had made my Met debut, and Tracy, of course, has an amazing career, and she also made a Met debut.
Yes. And so speaking of this Met debut, that was the last time that we had you, via telephone,
right
here on Classic 107 was when when you had your moment of amazing Adina victory. And it was all over the papers here, of course.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit more about how that happened, because you had covered or 2 seasons previous, or the previous season, you had covered in Donizetti's Le Risée d'Amore at the Met, Adina. So tell us how you actually ended up on stage.
Well, I covered Anna Netrebko, who is arguably the most famous soprano in the world right now.
Yeah.
And so that was a wonderful experience in itself. The first time I covered it in the sort of summer and fall of 2012. Wow, that's a while ago. She was sort of in and out, so I got to kind of be in role and have a little bit of a chance at it then. And then the Met called me back to cover her again in 2013/14, and she took ill with the flu. So I was in role the entire rehearsal process, and it's sort of, and I knew I was doing the orchestra, like an orchestra rehearsal on stage, and she was supposed to come back and do the dress rehearsal.
Right.
So I did the orchestra rehearsal, got a phone call and said, she's not well yet, so you have to go do the dress rehearsal. It's like, okay. And so I did the dress rehearsal, and it was about 3 days before the actual opening night. And the next day after dress rehearsal, I got a call from my manager, and she said, so Anna is not well yet. So you are going on for the first show and the second show indefinitely, for sure. And then after that, we're hoping we're thinking she'll hopefully be over this flu. And so I pretty much dropped to the floor and was happy crying.
Right.
So yeah.
That anxiety happy cry. Right. Yeah, totally. Anxiety filled happy cries are good.
Yeah.
It's okay. Yeah. And then you nailed it. Nailed it.
Yeah, it was, it's so funny. People always ask, were you nervous? Were you nervous? Were you nervous? Well, I had I was fortunate enough that I got to do rehearsals, and I got to, build a rapport with my colleagues and with the conductor. And so I was very prepared. And you can let yourself be nervous, and I was surprised that I wasn't, but I didn't really let the nerves get to me. And I was really just excited and overwhelmed with sort of anticipation of that night. And I was really, so I managed it somehow.
But it's magical, and you did, and you were invited back to the Met again and again and again, which is wonderful. Gretel, and then and we just did. What did you last do?
Just did Valencienne.
Okay,
yes.
and this was this was what we were going to talk about. So, I heard a rumor that Tracy Dahl sang at the Met as Valencienne with Susan Graham as the Merry Widow.
Yeah.
And who was your Merry Widow?
My Merry Widow was also Susan Graham.
How magical is that?
Yeah, and Susan Graham she is an amazing, fun colleague to work with, and someone I look up to very much, just like Tracy. So it was such a neat experience. And actually, for our last performance, I had an Opera News interview for their Take 5 video. And so I was in Lincoln Center in the afternoon of my last performance. And I was like, I haven't really looked at the poster in front of the Met, because they have these huge posters.
Right.
I was like, I should just go check that out while I'm here, and then I'll just go home and relax and rest up for the show. So I went to the plaza of the Lincoln Center, and up to the poster and I look and I'm like, Tracy? And she's like, oh no, what? You're not supposed to know. And we both just started crying and we're like, I was so shocked. She surprised me in New York from my last show.
My heart is exploding right now a little bit.
My heart exploded then, and it explodes every time I remember that memory. So it was
and that was just in May, right? That was in May.
Yeah,
amazing.
It was. So
fantastic. Okay, so we want to get to Le Nozze di Figaro. We want to get to a little bit of that, but before we do, I would like to introduce people to the Letter Duet, because it's awesome.
So
and you get
beautiful.
to sing with Laura Chikevich, who is another one of my favorite Winnipeg sopranos. Also have a little bit of a soprano crush on her too. Who's lovely and amazing. And she's playing the Contessa.
She is.
Your patroness. And in this aria, can you set up this aria or the duet for us?
Oh, well, so Susanna, not to give it away, but if you've never seen it, but Susanna and Figaro have just found out that Marcellina and Bartolo are actually Figaro's parents.
Right.
Oops.
I know. It's okay. It's okay.
Spoiler alert. And so she's sort of coming into the scene saying, oh, you should have seen the Count's face when he found out, because that was sort of the Count's out for Figaro marrying Susanna, is because Figaro signed a contract to marry Marcellina. It had been a while back when he needed some money, and she said, well, I'll give you money if you sign this contract to marry me in the future. Anyway, so this is just after that lovely sextet. Amazing. And so this duet is basically the Countess asks Susanna to write a letter to the Count and to sort of express interest in meeting him in the garden and having some sort of romantic encounter with each other, which the Count has been wanting for a long time. So that's it sets up Act 4, sort of the trickery of it and sort of role reversal and all that stuff. And yeah, it's not only is it a really important duet to set up Act 4, it's also stunningly beautiful. So.
Sylvia McNair as Susanna, Cheryl Stuger as the Contessa, with the Vienna Philharmonic conducted by Claudio Abbado, Sull'aria. And we're back here in the Diamond Lane with Susanna.
Yes.
Andriana Chuchman, welcome back to Classic 107. Welcome back to your hometown of Winnipeg. We've missed you.
I've missed you. On the whole.
Well, and we're so excited to see you in Marriage of Figaro. I'm so excited to see your Susanna. Let's get to the bulk of the story. Tell us about who Susanna is. Where does she come from? What do you love about her?
Susanna, I would describe her as the pillar character in this entire opera. She's sort of the most stable mentally. She's the most composed throughout. She is arguably the smartest character on stage, even though she might not be a woman of position and have had, as much education background, as say the nobles, but 'cause she's a maid, and so, but she's very witty, she's very smart, and Mozart and De Ponte just did an amazing job writing her from the Beaumarchais and translating those aspects into this opera. So there's no really guesswork with her. She's so smart, and she really is able to almost manipulate situations without totally inserting herself. She sort of artfully can manipulate things without it being so obvious. And she's so fun to play. Her music is beautiful, and she is on stage constantly. It's probably I think it's one of the longest roles in opera. At least that's what I've heard, note for note, measure by measure. So it is a marathon. Susanna is Figaro's fiancée, at least for the first half of the opera, and she is devoted and faithful to him, even though she has the Count looming constantly and wanting to have a romantic relationship with her. I guess the Count is a little bit bored or whatnot. Who knows? But
or just a guy.
Or just a guy. And I don't know. Whose marriage has gone a little
Yeah.
Sour. But yeah, so she's very smart. She's in love with Figaro, and yeah, and it is a rom-com, so she deals with a lot of funny, dramatic moments, dealing with Marcellina, dealing with the Count, dealing with, horny Carabino.
Yeah, this lovely mezzo pants roll, which we don't see very much in opera anymore. We don't see the pants rolls. Love the pants rolls, though. Yeah. Hey, so about Manitoba Opera's production, what makes it different than any other production that you've been part of, experienced, or seen?
Mm-hmm. Well, I would say that it's a traditional production. What I like about working with Brent Crissa, the director, is that he sort of changes the meaning of certain lines. So, for example, in Act 2, when Susanna has her aria Venite inginocchiatevi, which is basically taking Carabino and dressing him up as a woman. So, simply, Susanna is trying to get Carabino to stop squirming and just stand still so that she can dress him and undress him, etc. And so instead of constantly, when Susanna is saying, turn around, look at me, some of the turnarounds are for the Countess, who is also in the room. And it's like, turn around, take a look, turn around, So it's really neat to have different meanings for reoccurring words in one aria, and that happens a couple of times in the opera as well. So it's really neat to sort of think of those things differently, because I've been associated or I've been doing the Marriage of Figaro for years now. So
right, with several different companies and several different directors. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it's nice to have that little bit of freshness interjected. I mean, you're dealing with a score that's been done since 1786, right?
Yes.
Is when it was premiered. So you've got how many years is that? 230 years of performing this opera, through all over the world with all different casts and all different directors with all different subtext in mind. Mm-hmm. But when you have a little bit of denser subtext, it gives us in the audience just it's that extra little bit of intrigue that keeps us tied to the journey. Yes. Oh, I'm so excited to come see it. The other two things that we need to talk about before we leave, two very exciting non-stage elements of this production that we have to mention. There's a wedding dress exhibit.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen them?
I have. I think most, or at least Lara and I in the cast, have submitted our wedding dresses. And I think so they're on display, and I think there's probably 40 or 50 wedding dresses. I don't exactly know the number, but there are a bunch of real wedding dresses and pictures attached to them. I think of people possibly in the chorus, or from the chorus, and from, do you have a...
It says that they've been provided by patrons, cast, staff, and chorus and volunteers as well. Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Should be really fun. Also, the other element of this is that Salome Mission is, Figaro and Susanna are requesting, in lieu of wedding gifts. In lieu of wedding gifts, you bring donations for Salome Mission, including hygiene products, winter clothing. There's a whole list on Manitoba Opera's website, manitobaopera.mb.ca. And it's something really that's, I couldn't imagine what you could do better than that.
I think it's such a great idea that Manitoba Opera put together. I think it's something small we can do, but it really means something big for the one person out there that needs it, that really needs it. And especially, it's something we take for granted.
Absolutely, especially in these Winnipeg winters.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's gonna be cold.
I know, right? But it's still not. Imagine,
no,
what is this, middle of November?
I'm knocking on wood right
okay.
now.
Anyway, Adriana, Manitoba Opera Susanna, in their first production of the 2015-16 season, Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro. Join her and the rest of the Prairie cast of this indisputable staple of the operatic repertoire Saturday the 21st and Friday the 27th at 7:30 p.m. or Tuesday the 24th at 7 p.m. at Centennial Concert Hall. Side-splitting and sensitive, it's a whirlwind of Mozartian magic. Perfect for those of you just starting your operatic exposure. It's an ideal first show. For tickets, visit manitobaopera.mb.ca or call the Manitoba Opera box office at 204-944-8824. Or you can even go to the lower level of Centennial Concert Hall to the Manitoba Opera box office itself between 9:30 and 4:30 p.m. Monday to Friday. Andriana, I'm so excited for Saturday. I'm going to go see it. My students are coming to see it tomorrow night. I have a couple students who are coming to see it tomorrow night.
For the dress rehearsal.
They've never seen a full live staged opera. So this is their first. So don't blow it.
I will not blow it. I promise.
Amazing. Andriana Chuchman, thank you so much for joining us here on Classic 107. We're going to play you out on Susanna's most beautiful aria, De vieni non tardar, here from Barbara Bonney, accompanied by the Drottningholm Court Theatre Orchestra. I will see you on Saturday. Have fun.
Don't miss this one.
So exciting. Thanks so much.